My beloved child, stop everything you're doing right now. Just stop. I need you to hear something that will change everything about this moment, this day, this season of your life. Take a deep breath with me. Breathe in slowly. Hold it. Now, release. Feel my presence surrounding you like a warm embrace. Because what I'm about to tell you is not just words on a screen or sounds in your ears. This is a living message from my heart to yours. I know you're here because your life feels like it's falling apart. Maybe it happened suddenly, like a devastating earthquake that shook your foundations in a single moment. Or perhaps it's been a slow crumbling, piece by piece, until you looked around and realized nothing looks the way it used to. You've been trying so hard to hold it all together. I've watched you picking up the broken pieces with bleeding hands, attempting to glue back together what seems irreparably shattered. I've seen you putting on a brave face during the day while crying yourself to sleep at night. You've been wondering if I see you, if I care, if I even remember your name. My precious one, I am about to answer those questions in ways that will heal the deepest wounds in your soul. But first, I need you to do something for me. I need you to let down your guard, just for these next moments. Stop trying to be strong. Stop pretending everything is fine. Stop holding your breath, waiting for the next disaster. Because I am about to speak directly to those places in your heart that you've been afraid to let anyone see. Those places where hope used to live before disappointment moved in. Those dreams you've buried because reality became too painful. Those prayers you've stopped praying because you're tired of the silence. Listen to me with more than your ears. Listen with your broken heart. Listen with your weary soul. Listen with that small spark of faith that refuses to die despite everything that's happened. For I am the God who specializes in restoration. I am the one who brings beauty from ashes, who makes all things new, who speaks life into dead places. And today, right now, in this sacred moment, I am speaking directly to you. I see exactly where you are right now. Nothing about your situation is hidden from me. I see the job loss that didn't just take your income. It stole your identity. You had built so much of who you are around what you do. And now that it's gone, you don't even know who you are anymore. The rejection letters pile up. The bills keep coming. The savings account dwindles. And with each passing day, your confidence crumbles a little more. I see the relationship that ended, leaving a crater in your heart, so deep you wonder if it will ever be filled again. Whether it was divorce papers you never thought you'd sign, a breakup that blindsided you, or a death that came too soon. The person who was supposed to be there forever is gone, and their absence echoes in every room, every memory, every plan you made together that will never come to pass. I see the diagnosis that changed everything. One moment you were planning your future. The next moment you were counting your days. The word cancer, or chronic, or terminal rewrote your entire story in an instant. Now, your life is divided into before and after, and you're struggling to find meaning in the after. I see the family falling apart, the child who won't speak to you, the parent whose mind is slipping away, the sibling relationships destroyed by conflict, the home that once rang with laughter, now filled with silence or anger. The family photos on the wall mock you with memories of happier times that feel like they happened to someone else. I see the ministry or business and you poured your life into, now lying in ruins. The dream you sacrificed everything to build, destroyed by betrayal, bad decisions, or circumstances beyond your control. The people you served have scattered. The vision you carried has been shattered. The calling you were so sure of now feels like a cruel joke. I see the financial catastrophe that has left you drowning, the bankruptcy, the foreclosure, the retirement savings wiped out by medical bills, the generational wealth you hope to pass on, gone. You lie awake, calculating and recalculating, trying to make numbers work that simply won't add up. The American dream has become your personal nightmare. I see the addiction that promised to numb your pain, but instead multiplied it. What started as a way to cope became chains you can't break. The shame compounds daily. The lies multiply. The person you see in the mirror is a stranger. You've lost things you can never get back. Trust you may never rebuild. Years you can never reclaim. But I see something else too. I see how hard you've fought. Every morning you've gotten out of bed when you didn't want to face another day. That was courage. Every time you've tried again after failing. That was faith. Every moment you've chosen to keep breathing when the pain felt unbearable. That was strength. I see the prayers you've prayed, even the angry ones. Especially the angry ones. The ones where you've told me exactly how you feel about what's happening. The ones where you've questioned my goodness, my timing, my love. Those honest prayers move my heart more than you know. I see the tears you've cried when no one was watching. I've collected every single one. They are precious to me, not because I enjoy your pain, but because each tear represents a piece of your heart that I will personally restore. I see how isolated you feel, how you've pulled back from people because you're tired of explaining, tired of pretending, tired of being the one who always has problems when everyone else seems to have it all together. You've become an expert at saying, "I'm fine," when you're anything but fine. I see how your faith has been shaken, how you've wondered if everything you believed was just wishful thinking, how you've watched others receive the miracles you've begged for, how you've felt forgotten, overlooked, abandoned by the very one who promised to never leave you. I see it all, and I need you to know, your pain now has not made me uncomfortable. Your questions have not offended me. Your struggle has not surprised me, because I am not a distant God watching your life fall apart from some remote heaven. I am here, in the rubble, in the tears, in the sleepless nights, in the moments when you can barely breathe from the weight of it all. I am here, and I have something to say about your ruins. Now, let me share my heart with you. Let me pull back the veil and show you what I see when I look at your broken life. Where you see destruction, I see construction. Where you see an ending, I see a beginning. Where you see ashes, I see the fertile soil where your greatest growth will emerge. You see, I am the master rebuilder. Throughout history, I have always done my greatest work in the midst of ruins. Remember Joseph, sold by his brothers, falsely accused, forgotten in prison. His life was a series of devastating collapses, but I was writing a story he couldn't see. Every betrayal was positioning him. Every setback was preparing him. Every loss was actually leading him toward a purpose bigger than his pain. When he finally saw the full picture, he could say to those who hurt him, You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Consider Moses. His attempt to deliver his people ended in murder and exile. 40 years in the wilderness, his dreams buried in desert sand. He thought his life was over, but I was preparing him in that wilderness. The very place that felt like punishment became his preparation. The desert that seemed to steal his purpose was actually refining it. When I finally called him from that burning bush, he was ready in ways he never could have been without those years of brokenness. Look at David, anointed as king, then hunted like an animal, living in caves, pretending to be insane, watching the very man he served try to kill him. His life was falling apart, even as my promise over him remained. But in those caves, I was forming the heart of a worshiper. In that wilderness, I was building the character of a king. The Psalms that have comforted millions were born from his darkest moments. Think about Ruth, widowed, young, childless, following her mother-in-law to a foreign land with no prospects and no hope. Her life was a portrait of loss, but I was orchestrating a love story. I was weaving her pain into a tapestry of redemption. The foreign field where she gathered leftover grain would become the place where she found love, provision, and a place in the lineage of the Messiah. Remember Job. In one day, everything fell apart. Children dead, wealth gone, health destroyed, friends turned accusers. His wife told him to curse me and die. The most righteous man of his time became the most afflicted. But I was doing something deeper than he could understand. I was revealing mysteries. I was expanding his knowledge of me. I was preparing him for double restoration. When it was over, he said, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." Consider the disciples. They left everything to follow Jesus. They believed he was the Messiah who would restore Israel. Then, they watched him die. Their leader crucified. Their hopes shattered. Their futures uncertain. They hid fear. Dreams destroyed. Faith shaken. But the cross wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a greater one. Their darkest day became the prelude to resurrection power that would transform the world. Do you see the pattern, my child? I have never done my greatest work in comfort. I have always moved most powerfully in chaos. The broken places are where my light shines brightest. The impossible situations are where my power is most clearly displayed. The endings are where I specialize in new beginnings. But here's what I need you to understand. I don't cause the breaking to show off my fixing. I'm not playing games with your pain. The destruction in your life didn't originate with me. I don't delight in your suffering. We live in a broken world, a world fractured by sin, scarred by the enemy's schemes, marked by the consequences of humanity's choices. Bad things happen to good people. Good things happen to bad people. The rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. But here's my promise. While I may not have caused your breaking, I will use every broken piece. Nothing is wasted in my economy. No pain is purposeless in my hands. No tear falls outside my sovereignty. I am the God who brings streams in the desert, who makes roads in the wilderness, who causes dry bones to live again. I am the God of resurrection, restoration, and redemption. And I am about to do something in your ruins that will cause you to look back on this season, not with regret, but with gratitude. Not because the pain wasn't real, but because the transformation was greater. Your breakdown is about to become your breakthrough. But first, you need to understand some things about how I work in the rubble. Let me reveal to you 7 divine principles about how I transform ruins into restoration. First truth, I work best in emptiness. You feel empty right now, drained, depleted, like you have nothing left to give. But emptiness is not your enemy. It's your opportunity. You see, as long as your hands are full of your own efforts, your own plans, your own strength, there's no room for what I want to give you. But now, in your emptiness, you're finally ready to receive. It's like a cup that must be emptied before it can be filled with something new. Your life had to be emptied of what was to make room for what will be. The stripping away wasn't cruel. It was preparation. Think about it. A field must be cleared before new crops can be planted. A foundation must be dug before a building can rise. A canvas must be blank before a masterpiece can be painted. Your emptiness is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of mine. In the natural world, vacuums don't stay empty. They draw in whatever is available to fill them. In the spiritual realm, when you're emptied of self-sufficiency, you create a vacuum that draws in my sufficiency. When you're emptied of your own wisdom, you make room for mine. When you're emptied of your limited resources, you position yourself for my unlimited provision. So don't despise your emptiness. Embrace it. Offer it to me. Say, God, I have nothing left. Fill me with yourself. That prayer, prayed from genuine emptiness, moves heaven. Second truth, breaking often precedes blessing. The breaking you've experienced feels like destruction, but it's actually preparation for construction. Let me explain. A seed must break open before it can grow. The hard outer shell that protected it must crack for the life inside to emerge. Your breaking is like that seed. What felt like destruction was actually the cracking open of limitations that were keeping your true purpose contained. In ancient times, when precious perfume was kept in alabaster jars, the jar had to be broken for the fragrance to be released. Your life is like that jar. The breaking has released a fragrance, a depth, a beauty that could never have emerged without the shattering. A glow stick doesn't light up until it's broken. The breaking causes the chemical reaction that creates the light. Your breaking has initiated a spiritual reaction that's about to illuminate not just your life, but the lives of others who will be drawn to your light. Grapes must be crushed to make wine. Wheat must be ground to make bread. Olives must be pressed to make oil. The crushing, the grinding, the pressing, they feel like destruction, but they're actually transformation. You are being transformed from one form to another, from one level of glory to another, from one capacity to another. The process is painful, but the product will be powerful. Third truth, I rebuild differently than before. When I restore, I don't just put things back the way they were. That would be a waste of your pain. Instead, I rebuild better, stronger, more beautiful than before. It's like the Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. The cracks aren't hidden, they're highlighted. The broken places become the most beautiful parts. The restoration doesn't deny the breaking, it transforms it into something more valuable than the original. When I rebuilt Job's life, I didn't just replace what he lost, I doubled it. But more than that, I gave him a deeper knowledge of me. He moved from knowing about me to knowing me personally. The restoration included not just external blessing, but internal transformation. When I restored Peter after his denial, I didn't just forgive him and send him back to fishing. I commissioned him to feed my sheep. His greatest failure became the doorway to his greatest calling. His restoration included promotion. Your rebuilding won't look like your old life. It will be uniquely designed for who you've become through the breaking. The new version of you needs a new version of your life. And I'm the architect drawing up those plans even now. Fourth truth: the process is as important as the product. I know you want the restoration to happen immediately. You want to wake up tomorrow with everything fixed. But the journey through the ruins is as important as the destination of restoration. In the wilderness, I'm teaching you dependence. You're learning to rely on daily manna instead of stored grain. You're discovering that I am enough when everything else is stripped away. These lessons can't be learned on the mountaintop, only in the valley. In the waiting, I'm building your faith muscles. Every day you choose to trust when you can't see. Those muscles get stronger. Every moment you worship when you don't feel like it, your spiritual stamina increases. This strength will serve you for the rest of your life. In the struggle, I'm developing your testimony. Right now, you're living out the story you'll tell for years to come. The story that will bring hope to others in their ruins. The story that will glorify me in ways your comfort never could. In the pain, I'm cultivating your compassion. You'll never again pass by someone else's ruins without feeling their ache. You'll never again offer shallow comfort to deep wounds. You're joining the fellowship of those who can truly weep with those who weep. Don't rush the process. Don't shortcut the journey. What I'm doing in you is as important as what I'm doing for you. Fifth truth: your ruins are becoming your ministry. The very areas where you've experienced the most devastation are the areas where you'll have the most authority to minister to others. Your mess is becoming your message. Your test is becoming your testimony. Your pain is becoming your platform. You'll speak differently to someone facing job loss because you've been there. You'll comfort the grieving with a depth that only comes from personal experience. You'll guide others through their ruins because you know the path. But it's more than just experience. In your breaking, I'm depositing treasures of wisdom that you'll distribute to others. I'm downloading revelations in your darkness that will become light for others. I'm teaching you secrets in your suffering that will become solutions for others. The enemy meant your breaking for evil. He wanted to destroy your faith, to silence your voice, end your influence. But I'm turning it all around. Your breaking is becoming the very thing that qualifies you for greater influence than you ever had before. Years from now, you'll look back and see that your greatest ministry flowed from your deepest pain. Your most powerful moments will be when you tell someone else in ruins, I've been where you are, and God is faithful. Let me show you the path through. 6. The truth. I'm restoring more than you lost. When I restore, I don't work with human mathematics. I work with kingdom multiplication. What the enemy stole in subtraction, I return in multiplication. You lost one thing, but I'm preparing multiple blessings. You went through one valley, but I'm preparing multiple mountains. You experienced one breaking, but I'm preparing multiple breakthroughs. It's my nature to exceed expectations, to do immeasurably more than all you ask or imagine, to open windows of heaven and pour out blessings you don't have room to contain. But here's what you need to understand. The restoration isn't just about replacing what was lost. It's about receiving what you never had before. New dimensions of my presence, new levels of authority, new realms of influence, new depths of joy, new heights of purpose. Some of what I'm preparing for you, you couldn't have handled before the breaking. You needed to be enlarged through the emptying. You needed to be strengthened through the struggling. You needed to be prepared through the pain. The restoration package I'm preparing includes things you haven't even thought to ask for, blessings you didn't know were possible, opportunities you never imagined, relationships you haven't yet conceived, impact you never dared dream. Seventh truth, your story isn't over. This is perhaps the most important truth of all. However final your situation feels, however permanent your ruins appear, however impossible restoration seems, your story isn't over. As long as you're breathing, I'm writing. As long as your heart beats, my plans persist. As long as you exist, possibilities remain. The chapter you're in right now is dark. The pages are stained with tears. The paragraphs are full of pain. But this isn't the last chapter. I'm the author, and I specialize in plot twists. I delight in surprise endings. I'm famous for resurrection scenes. Some of the greatest stories ever told looked hopeless in the middle. Abraham was childless until he was old. Sarah laughed at the impossibility of my promise. But I had the last laugh when Isaac was born. The Israelites were trapped between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea. No way forward, no way back. Certain destruction. But I had already planned their deliverance. The very sea that threatened to be their grave became their pathway to freedom. Lazarus was dead, 4 days dead. If you had been here dead. But I stood at his tomb and called him forth, because I'm the God who calls things that are not as though they were. I speak to dead things and they live. Your situation may look dead. Your dreams may be buried. Your hope may be entombed. But I'm standing at your tomb today, and I'm calling you forth. I'm speaking life to your dead places. I'm declaring resurrection over your ruins. Now, let me give you 5 specific steps to partner with me in your restoration process. Step 1. Embrace radical honesty. Stop pretending. Stop minimizing your pain. Stop saying you're fine when you're falling apart. Restoration begins with reality. Write me a letter. Tell me exactly how you feel. Don't hold back. If you're angry, say it. If you're disappointed, express it. If you feel abandoned, write it down. I can handle your honesty. In fact, I've been waiting for it. List everything you've lost. Be specific. Don't spiritualize it. Don't minimize it. Honor your losses by acknowledging them fully. The job with the salary amount. The relationship with the person's name, the dream with its details. I need you to grieve what was before you can receive what will be. Create a ruins inventory. What's broken? What's not working? What needs restoration? Be thorough. Include your finances, your relationships, your health, your emotions, your faith. You can't rebuild what you won't acknowledge is broken. This isn't negativity, it's necessity. You can't be healed from what you won't reveal. You can't receive restoration for ruins you pretend don't exist. Honesty isn't lack of faith, it's the foundation for rebuilding. Step 2. Release your timeline. You have a timeline in your head for when things should be fixed. Let it go. My timeline operates in a different dimension than yours. I see the end from the beginning. I know exactly what needs to happen and when. I'm orchestrating circumstances you can't see. I'm aligning people you haven't met. I'm preparing provisions that haven't manifested. Trust my timing. Create a surrender ceremony. Write down your timeline expectations on paper. All your by this date demands. All your should have happened by now frustrations. Then burn the paper or bury it. As you do, say out loud, God, I release my timeline and receive yours. Start each day with this declaration. Today I will be present in my process. I won't rush ahead to tomorrow or remain stuck in yesterday. I will look for what you're doing today in this stage of my restoration. When anxiety about timing rises, breathe deeply and remind yourself, God is never early. God is never late. God is always right on time. My restoration is on heaven's schedule. Step 3. Practice active. Waiting. Waiting doesn't mean passive sitting. It means active preparing. While I'm working on your circumstances, I need you to work on yourself. Develop new skills during this season. What have you always wanted to learn but never had time? Now, while things are stripped down, invest in building yourself up. Take that course, read those books, learn that instrument, master that craft. When restoration comes, you'll be ready with new capacities. Deepen your spiritual practices. This is your opportunity to develop intimacy with me that busy seasons don't allow. Extend your prayer time. Memorize scripture that speaks to your situation. Start a detailed journal of your journey. These practices will become lifelong treasures. Serve someone else in ruins. I know it feels like you have nothing to give, but that's exactly when giving becomes most powerful. Find someone a few steps behind you in the journey. Share your bread, even when it feels like crumbs. Pour out even from your emptiness. Watch how I multiply what you give. Get your body moving. Ruins can make you want to stay in bed, but your body needs to process the stress. Walk, dance, swim, garden, do yoga. Your physical movement creates space for emotional and spiritual movement. Step 4. Gather your rebuilding team. You weren't meant to rebuild alone, but ruins often create isolation. It's time to intentionally gather your restoration support system. Find your Aaron and Hur. Remember when Moses' arms grew tired in battle? Aaron and Hur held them up. You need people who will hold up your arms when you're too weary to hold them yourself. Be specific about what support you need. Ask directly. Give people the gift of helping you. Connect with fellow rebuilders. Find others who are navigating their own ruins. Create or join a support group. Share your struggles and victories. There's power in Me Too moments. There's strength in shared journeys. Your ruins feel less overwhelming when you realize you're not the only one rebuilding. Seek professional help if needed. Sometimes ruins require specialized support. A counselor for emotional rubble. A financial advisor for economic rebuilding. A doctor for physical restoration. A spiritual director for faith reconstruction. Don't let pride keep you from the help you need. Distance yourself from demolition experts. Some people specialize in pointing out what's wrong without helping make it right. They rehearse your failures. They remind you of your losses. They question your ability to rebuild. Love them from a distance during this vulnerable season. Step 5. Create restoration rituals. Rebuilding requires regular rhythms that reinforce your progress and reconnect you with hope. Morning declaration practice. Each morning before your feet hit the floor, declare 3 things. Something you're grateful for, even in the ruins. Something you're believing me for. Something you're committing to do that day toward rebuilding. Start your day anchored in gratitude, faith, and action. Evening reflection. Practice each night before sleep. Thus, ask 3 questions. Where did I see God today? What progress did I make? However small, what do I need to release before sleep? End your day acknowledging my presence, celebrating progress, and releasing burdens. Weekly Sabbath practice. Choose one day each week to rest from rebuilding efforts. No planning, no fixing, no striving, just being. Rest is part of restoration. It's not lazy, it's obedient. I model this in creation. Follow my example. Monthly milestone practice. Once a month, document your rebuilding journey. Write what's different from last month. Take photos of progress. Celebrate small wins. Create a restoration journal that you'll treasure when rebuilding is complete. Seasonal gratitude practice. 4 times a year. At the change of seasons, write a gratitude letter to me. Thank me for what I've done. Thank me for what I'm doing. Thank me in advance for what I will do. Gratitude accelerates restoration. Now, let's seal these truths in your spirit through prayer. Close your eyes if you can. Place your hand over your heart. Breathe deeply and repeat these words after me, making them your own. Heavenly Father, I come to you from the midst of my ruins. I acknowledge that my life has fallen apart in ways I never imagined. I release my need to understand why this happened. I release my timeline for when it should be fixed. I release my plans for how restoration should look. I surrender my ruins to you, the Master Rebuilder. I believe you are working even when I can't see it. I believe you are restoring even when I can't feel it. I believe my story isn't over. I receive your grace for today's portion of the journey. I receive your strength for today's rebuilding tasks. I receive your hope for tomorrow's possibilities. I declare that my ruins are becoming my restoration. I declare that my test is becoming my testimony. I declare that my breakdown is becoming my breakthrough. I will not give up. I will not lose hope. I will not stop believing. For you are the God of restoration, and you are faithful to complete what you've started. In Jesus' name, Amen. Now, receive this blessing. May the God of all restoration visit your ruins with divine power. May every broken place be touched by healing hands. May every lost thing be replaced with something better. May every tear be transformed into future joy. May every wound become a wellspring of wisdom. May your latter days be greater than your former. May your restoration story inspire generations. You are loved. You are seen. You are held. You are being restored. Even now, even here, even in the ruins. My precious child, we've journeyed together through your ruins today. We've acknowledged the devastation. We've explored my restoration promises. We've discovered divine principles. We've established practical steps. But this is just the beginning. Tomorrow, the sun will rise on your ruins again, but you'll see them differently. You'll see them as construction sites rather than destruction zones. You'll see them as canvases for divine creativity rather than monuments to loss. Some days will be harder than others. Some moments you'll want to give up. Some seasons the rebuilding will seem impossibly slow. When those times come, return to these words. Let them wash over you again. Let them remind you of what's true beyond what's visible. Remember, I specialize in resurrection. It's not just something I did once. It's who I am. I am the God who brings dead things to life, and I am actively working in your ruins right now. Your job isn't to figure out how I'll do it. Your job isn't to make it happen faster. Your job is simply to show up each day, ready to partner with me in whatever rebuilding task I assign. Some days that will be clearing rubble. Some days it will be laying foundations. Some days it will be resting while I work. Trust the process. Years from now, you'll tell this story with tears of gratitude rather than grief. You'll see how every broken piece was gathered and reformed into something beautiful. You'll understand why the breaking had to happen for the blessing to come. You'll thank me for the ruins because of the restoration they produced. But you don't have to wait years to experience my goodness. Even now, in this moment, I am pouring out grace sufficient for today. Strength equal to your need. Hope deeper than your despair. Love stronger than your pain. You are not alone in your ruins. You never were. You never will be. I am here. I am working. I am faithful. And your restoration has already begun. Come back tomorrow. I have more to show you about how beauty emerges from ashes. Until then, rest in this truth. Your ruins are my specialty, and I never fail to complete what I begin. I love you with an everlasting love, and nothing, absolutely nothing, not even ruins, can separate you from that love. Go in peace, beloved. Your restoration is assured.